Hey gang, how y'all doing? So this is gonna be a pretty tough word. I follow quite a few people, prophets and seers, and it's kind of funny. Yesterday, I got like a confirming word even before I put this together because God has been kind of churning. He showed me this months ago, and I don't know if you guys know who Jonathan Edwards is, but he's an old school Puritan guy. He was in England and phenomenal theologian. And I love his writing. So I'm going to take some of his quotes and some of the scriptures that he used to kind of expound on you where we are. And I would just tell you, God is just tired of mankind right now. And judgment is here, people. Like, you already seen it happen in the church, but it's just starting. But this is a sermon number 2. The name of the title is Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. And the first time I read this, like, it gave me chills. And the thing I like about Jonathan Edwards is his symbolism, and it just paints a picture the way he writes. Sinners in the hands of an angry God. First scripture is coming from Deuteronomy 32:35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. And this is the scripture that says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And this is the thought, and when I read this morning, it brought me to tears. Because in one way, I want God to vindicate, because he needs to, because it's not our job to do it. But even more importantly, it hurts me because I know what's coming for people. And actually, the prophet that I watch, she said, prepare yourself. And when I read that, it kind of reminds me of what she said, because it hurts when you know that somebody's about to get spanked by God, like, and nobody can help them because if God is coming after them, that's all she wrote, bro. Like, there ain't nobody to protect you, ain't nobody to rescue you. Like, when God says it's time, it's bad. I don't want that for nobody, and that's why I'm sharing this. So here you go. This is the statement. Their foot shall slide in due time. Their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. So it's just basically saying this is time. And I would tell you, like, it's kind of weird how people think they have time. Just because they're young, they're in good health, money's good in their life, or they haven't seen what calamity is going to happen to them. Like, they don't know how it's going to happen. So just because it's not completely evident right now, like they're not on their sick bed or something, people figure they're okay. But listen, I would tell you there's a million different ways somebody can die. But even more so, there's a lot of different ways that God can bring calamity in your life. Because it may not be to your death right now today, right? But it's going to be so profound, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to be so profound, and it comes on so sudden, kind of like the days of Noah, like when the flood came. You got a guy that's been building an ark for 100 years, people laughing at him, making fun, and then it starts to rain. And the thing that people don't understand, at that time on the earth, it hadn't rained yet. But this rain was like, what? This rain was like, what? Like every fountain in the world was open. From top, from underneath. We're talking about enough water to cover the mountains. So, and that's what this calamity is going to be like. People are not going to expect it. Like we've been saying, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But for each individual, it's going to be different. But it's going to be profound, I'll tell you. So I got another scripture coming from Psalms 73:18. I'm going to be reading 18 and 19, but I'm going to do it 19 later. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou cast them down into destruction. So the thing is, we have to understand that if we're not on God's side, if we are in sin, we are already fit for destruction. And the only thing that prevents the destruction is God's grace. And I'll talk about it a little later, but that's the only thing that's holding it back. So when God draws a line and says, okay, today is the day, that's it. He's the one holding it back. And once he calls it, it's done. So the thing is we have to understand that this time that we live in right now, and we're still in grace because judgment has not come to the whole world yet, but it's coming. And once it's come, it's like the line is already going to be drawn. And there's no excuses after that point. There's going to be sheep on one side and goats on the other, and we know what happens to the goats. It's not good. As he that walketh in slippery places is every moment liable to fall. He cannot foresee one moment whether he shall stand of the fall the next. And when he does fall, he falls all at once without warning. There it is again. So the idea, it's going to be shocking. I think that's how you could say it. It's not going to be something that people are going to be like, oh, it's no. It's going to be overwhelming and shocking. Now here's verse 19. Psalm 73:19. How are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors. Whew. Scary. I mean, just reading that, it's kind of scary. Another thing implied is that they are liable to fall of themselves without being thrown down by the hand of another, as he that stands or walks on slippery ground needs nothing but his own weight to throw him down. So it's the idea is, and this is another thing too, is that people think there needs to be some kind of outward force to cause them to fall. And this is saying, it is implied that you're going to fall on your own accord. And again, would also point to the fact that God is the one holding you up. God is the one preventing you from falling at this point. And we need to understand that that's a point of grace. So I would say people that are in the church and outside the church, this is not just for the church. I would say it's primarily for the church in a way, because that's who God is judging now, and that's how he's going to start. But this is for everyone. That we need to understand it's time now to make a choice what side you're on. And no man knows the day or the hour. And that, for you to understand, is you might not make it to the judgment, right? People can die at any time. People jump in their car and they go on a trip and they think they're going to make it, and they get in an accident and they don't make it. So think about that. Think about the fact that people don't know when their end is going to come. And because of that, judgment for us can happen at any time. And here's the last little piece. That's the reason why they are not fallen already. And do not fall now. It's only for God's appointed time has not come. God will not hold them up in these slippery places and any longer, but will let them go. And at that very instant, they shall fall into destruction. There is nothing that keeps the wicked man at any one moment out of hell but the pleasure of God. So the idea is we need to understand that now is the time, and God is warning. He is pre-warned, forewarned, many different ways, and nothing is going to protect you. Nothing. And the things that have kind of helped you in the past, you're not going to be able to find them when that time comes. I don't know if you've ever kind of fallen, but it's happened to me even at work before, on a slippery floor, and you're on the ground, on your back, or getting up off your knee before you even realize that you have fell. That's what it's going to be like. But this falling is like falling into a bottomless pit, falling where there is no end. And I know a lot of people think, this is just, made up folklore, but it's not, people. God is talking to people all over the world, and some of them just newly coming to Christ. People that were doing OnlyFans, saved and preaching now. Think about that. Hello, I see him. I'm telling you, time is up. So that's part one of this message. I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's probably going to be about 5 or 6 parts. But this is sinners in the hand of an angry God. And I'll talk to you guys until next time.